You probably imagine a genius looks like a scientist in a white coat solving math problems on a chalkboard. But real intelligence often exists in the habits you try to conceal. History's smartest minds were rarely normal. They were eccentric, messy, and sometimes just plain weird. If you talk to yourself in the grocery store, or if your desk looks like a tornado hit it, you might not be disorganized. You might be operating on a higher level. Science has found a link between high IQ and some truly strange behaviors. So here are 10 weird habits that indicate you have an extremely high IQ. Coming in at number 10 is a habit that starts with the choice between being a dog person or a cat person. Your answer might reveal more than just your taste in pets, as a study from Carroll University found a distinct difference in intelligence between these two groups. The research showed that dog lovers tend to be more energetic and outgoing, whereas cat owners scored significantly higher on intelligence tests. This distinction comes down to personality, as cat owners in the study were more introverted, open-minded, and nonconformist, which are traits often linked to higher cognitive ability. A dog requires you to follow a routine and go outside, while a cat is independent, much like the stereotypical genius working alone in a study. Think of the typical villain or mastermind in movies who often strokes a cat while plotting. Even though it is a cliché, the data supports the idea. If you prefer a pet that excludes the need for your constant attention, it might be because your mind is busy with bigger things. Number 9 is for everyone who has been told that swearing is a sign of a limited vocabulary. But the reality is the exact opposite. A 2017 study from Marist College revealed that people who can name the most swear words in 1 minute also tend to have the largest overall vocabularies. The idea that smart people refrain from bad language is simply a myth. Think about a character like Deadpool or Malcolm Tucker, who does not swear because they cannot think of a better word, but rather because they know exactly which word will have the most impact. Swearing effectively requires linguistic subtlety and quick wit, serving as a tool for emphasis, humor, and emotional release. The study found that fluency in taboo words correlates with fluency in neutral words. The next time someone corrects your language, you can tell them that science is on your side. A potty mouth is not a lack of class, but often a sign of a high-functioning verbal processor letting off steam. At number 8, take a look at your desk to see if it is spotless or if it looks like a bomb went off. If it is a mess, you are in good company. Psychological scientist Kathleen Vose from the University of Minnesota published a major study showing that a messy environment actually stimulates creative thinking. A clean room encourages people to follow rules and play it safe, whereas a cluttered room encourages new ideas. Albert Einstein was famous for his messy desk, and once asked what an empty desk signifies if a cluttered desk is a sign of a cluttered mind. In movies, a mad scientist like Doc Brown in Back to the Future never works in a pristine lab. His workspace is chaos because his mind is moving too fast to tidy up. The study found that people in messy rooms came up with more creative solutions to problems than those in tidy rooms, because disorder breaks you free from convention. Do not clean up that pile of papers just yet, since it might be helping you think. Number 7 takes a darker turn. If you laugh at jokes that make other people uncomfortable, it might be a sign of high intelligence. A 2017 study led by the Medical University of Vienna found a strong correlation between understanding dark humor and having a high IQ. The researchers discovered that people who appreciated black comedy scored higher on both verbal and nonverbal intelligence tests. Processing a dark joke is complex because you have to understand the premise, recognize the tragedy, detach yourself emotionally, and find the clever twist all in a split second. Characters like the Joker or Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty embody this, since they see the absurdity in the world that others miss. The study also found that people who like dark humor tend to be less aggressive. They use humor to process difficult subjects rather than acting out. If you find yourself giggling at the gallows, it is not because you are evil, but because your brain is fast enough to process the irony before the horror sets in. Coming in at number 6 is the habit of staying up late. Society often praises the early bird, but science praises the night owl. Research by evolutionary psychologist Satoshi Kanazawa suggests that people with higher IQs are more likely to be nocturnal, based on the Savannah IQ interaction hypothesis. The logic is that staying up after dark was dangerous for our ancestors and offered no benefit, so we evolved to sleep when the sun went down. Choosing to stay awake at night is an evolutionarily novel behavior. It requires overriding your basic biological instincts, which is something intelligent brains are better at doing. Think of Tony Stark tinkering in his lab at 3 a.m., where the night offers solitude and silence, perfect for deep cognitive work. The study analyzed thousands of people and found that those with higher childhood IQs grew up to be adults who went to bed later and woke up later. If you do your best thinking when the world is asleep, you are fighting biology with intelligence. Number 5 is a habit that feels like a curse but might actually be a gift, and that is worrying. If you constantly replay conversations in your head or stress about the future, you might possess high verbal intelligence. A study from Lakehead University found that people who reported higher levels of worry scored higher on verbal intelligence tests. This is the tortured genius trope come to life, similar to C-3PO from Star Wars, who always calculates the odds of doom, or Chidi from The Good Place. An anxious mind is constantly imagining scenarios, drafting dialogue, and predicting outcomes, which results in an overactive imagination. The study suggests that verbal intelligence allows you to construct detailed future narratives that lead to worry. You are not just scared, you are analyzing. This ability to anticipate danger is uncomfortable, but it was likely a survival advantage in the past. Today, it just means you are the one in the group who has thought of everything that could possibly go wrong. At number 4 is daydreaming. Teachers might have scolded you for staring out the window, but a 2017 study from Georgia Tech suggests that a wandering mind is a sign of an efficient brain. The researchers used MRI scans to look at brain patterns and found that people who daydream frequently scored higher on intellectual and creative ability tests. A smart brain is so efficient that it does not need to use all its capacity for simple tasks, so it finishes the job and then drifts off to more interesting thoughts. It is like a computer with too much RAM running a screensaver. Think of Luna Lovegood from Harry Potter, or the protagonist in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, who seem absent-minded, yet their internal worlds are rich and complex. The study showed that daydreamers had more fluid connectivity between different brain regions. When you zone out, you are not checking out, but rather checking in on a deeper level of processing that rigid focus does not allow. Number 3 is the preference for solitude. If you feel happier when you are alone than when you are with a large group of friends, you fit the profile of the highly intelligent. The same researchers who studied night owls, Kanazawa and Lee, found a surprising negative correlation between population density and happiness for smart people. Most people are happier with more social interaction, whereas highly intelligent people are actually happier with less. This relates back to the Savannah theory. Socializing was a key factor for survival when we were hunters, but today constant interaction can be a distraction from long-term goals. Smart people are often focused on objectives like learning, creating, or solving problems that require deep focus. Think of Batman in the Batcave or Dr. Manhattan on Mars, who are not necessarily antisocial but simply selective. Their brains are engaged with ideas rather than small talk. If you decline a party invitation to stay home and work on a project, you're not being rude. You are prioritizing your mental environment. Number 2 is the most counterintuitive of all, which is laziness. We are taught that hard work is the key to success, but a study from Florida Gulf Coast University suggests that intelligent people are physically less active. The researchers used a metric called need for cognition. People with a high need for cognition crave deep thinking, whereas those with a low need often get bored and use physical activity to distract themselves. Bill Gates once said that he chooses a lazy person to do a hard job because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it. This is the essence of efficiency. Think of Shikamaru from Naruto, who finds moving troublesome but can outthink any opponent, or the dude from The Big Lebowski, who observes rather than acts. The study found that thinkers spent far less time moving around during the week. They were not simply inactive, they were sitting still and processing. Physical exercise is good for your health, but a tendency to lounge around might mean your brain is getting a workout while your body rests. Finally, at number 1 is the habit that makes people stare at you on the street, which is talking to yourself. It is the classic trope of the mad genius, but psychology says there is no madness involved. A study from Bangor University proved that talking out loud to yourself actually improves cognitive control and focus. When you verbalize your thoughts, you make them concrete. You are not just thinking, you are organizing. It helps you find lost objects faster, learn difficult concepts, and clarify your goals. We see this in movies with Sherlock Holmes, who often monologues to an empty room to deduce a crime, or Einstein, who was known to repeat sentences to himself softly. It is a feedback loop where your brain produces the thought, your mouth speaks it, and your ears hear it, reinforcing the information 3 times. If you hold full conversations with yourself, do not worry. You are not losing your mind. You are just using a user interface that most people are too embarrassed to access. If you swear at your messy desk while talking to yourself at 2 a.m., you might just be a genius. Society tries to mold us into a standard shape that is clean, polite, social, and early rising. But the human mind is too complex for one size to fit all. Intelligence is not just about test scores. It is about how your brain processes the world. These weird habits are just side effects of a powerful engine running at full speed. Do not try to fix them, but rather embrace the weirdness, because it is proof that you are thinking differently. If you recognized yourself in this list, hit like and subscribe for more insights into your own mind.